All right, so we're going to continue to talk about student engagement, and I wanted to share with you some more um, in-depth ways to think about student engagement, aside from group responses and all kids are working. So these are things that will lead you to more things that are highly engaging as opposed to just on task. If you look at this list of different strategies related to student engagement, we're going to take just a second and go through each one. So this is from the from the book, Working on the Work. And I will share this document with all of you so that you have access to it for further learning or more reading. But I just kind of wanted to take a minute and guide you through the list of strategies here. So if I scroll down, we've got the first one is personal response. So this is just in a nutshell, more than one right answer or open-ended questions. It gives you a list of things that it looks like and what it's not. This will encourage kids not only to be more engaged, but will up their level of depth of knowledge or critical thinking skills. The next one is modeled expectations. So making it very clear to kids what things are expected, what they're going to know and be able to do by the end of a lesson, and how they might be able to connect what they're learning to previous learning, which we'll talk about a little bit more in the next couple of strategies. The freedom to take risks would be kids feeling comfortable um, putting out an answer even if they think it's wrong. And this is hard to set up in classrooms. You want to make sure that you're creating a safe environment where kids are not made fun of or embarrassed if they come up with an answer that might not quite be inside the box. Learning with others or affiliation is what we typically think of as collaborative learning or cooperative work. This is when they're working with a student or they're talking with a small group. It's not taking turns. It's not working with a group always and not knowing what the outcome should be. One of the things I've noticed that a lot of our kids need when we put them in cooperative groups is how to actually work with others. And so, for example, if I were to have a small group instruction discussion group, I would give kids some sentence stems or some things to definitely talk about. When we say to kids, turn to your partner and talk, they frequently don't know what to talk about. So that might be one thing to consider. A sense of audience. Student work is shared, so kids are not working in isolation. We're making their work visible. Um, and not visible in the sense that what I'm doing is hanging a good paper on the wall. It's more about how will kids share their learning with others, and how will we help them to learn how to talk about their work in an intelligent and meaningful way with anyone. Student choice is clearly something I think that we've talked about before, and yet this takes it a step further. This doesn't mean that kids get a choice about everything they do. It certainly means that you would offer them some acceptable choices for how they're doing what they're doing, for what they might turn in as evidence that they know what they're doing. Um, the kinds of assignments that would be considered differentiated would certainly fall into this category. Novelty and variety are uh, mixing it up. What it looks like day in, day out may look very different. Not to the extent that kids have no idea what to expect, and yet not having lecture every day, all day for the whole class. Putting in some different types of activities that will get them engaged in a different way. Doug Lemov in Teach Like a Champion calls this Vegas. So making things a little bit glitzy sometimes and putting on a show that will entertain them in certain aspects. This is where we're going to talk about connecting it to prior experience. So we want to make sure that the activities kids are involved in are authentic, that they're not just, we're doing this because I said so. We're doing this because here's how it connects to what we've done before, or here's how it is connected to something you're interested in, and definitely, here's how you're going to use it in the future. If we as teachers can't answer those questions and say to kids, this is what you're learning and here's why, then we might need to examine what we're teaching them.